So it's an 8-bedroom, 3 reception room, full rewire, apart from the kitchen. There's a consumer unit up there. Ooh, hello. Which was replaced just for the sale, but there's no markings, no certification, no identification, and it's a split load with one of the circuits just on an RCD to feed the top floor consumer unit. I came here a while ago, you probably remember it. Come and saw some horrific cabling sticking out. And I offered them, like I do in the ARCR, but I said we probably needs a rewire because of the state and the age and the condition of the current cabling. But this is where I've been. Sockets everywhere, switches, they're everywhere. And they're actually, that was one big chase, that's something like 5 meters, that chase. We've got smokes throughout. Still got to do the switch drops here. Got the plaster in, making good. I actually offered to make good, so a mate of mine has come to plaster up. I think it's 70 double sockets in total. I've got to keep this shower going, the one in here, electric shower, which is off the top floor board, which I'll tell you about in a second. I've got to temporarily keep these lights going. So I've got a loop in, feed in, and I'll just sling a switch wire up there, or switch line cable, because they're going to redo the bathroom. They don't know when, so we just want to refeed the existing, and they can use that. Loop in at the switches, center lights on joists, because they're going to have big fuck off lights, and then top floor. Oh, I think I didn't show you. Oh yeah, there's a mezzanine floor there. There's a mezzanine floor here. Loop in, switches, sockets, a Cat5 cabling around. And then on the top floor we got a load of 2-ways throughout all the staircase, smokes, lights. This was the consumer unit which is going to be ripped out, but the shower downstairs is fed from that. So what I'm going to do temporarily, I need to keep the shower going, I'm going to join the supply cable for this consumer unit onto the shower cable in just a junction box, and it's going to go on its own RCBO down in the new consumer unit when I fit it, and eventually that shower is going to go on the boiler. So when that time comes, you can just isolate the RCBO, pull them out, and just chop the cable. It was a pain. There's lather past the walls up here, which was a nightmare, but I did my thing where I screwed to the joists, found a joist. I think you'll see some of the filling that my mate had to do. Yeah. Yeah, 8 bedrooms, probably the biggest single dwelling I've ever done. I'll show you the basement. There's all new lights here. This has all been ripped out. The plumber's have already ripped out the immersion. I'll show you the basement. 8 bedrooms, 3 large reception rooms, but we're not touching the kitchen and we're not touching the garage, which I'll show you, but I'm going to make it safe. There's a utility back to back of the consumer unit, which I'm going to have a dedicated radial for that. The kitchen I'm not going to touch, but I'm going to test and check. And there is a garage just out the back there, which has got some lights in, but I'm going to disconnect them, and temporarily I'm probably going to come off of a fuse spur in the kitchen just to feed the garage lights, because there's no earth there. And they've got a couple of metal lights, so I could swap them to double insulated fittings, I suppose, temporarily. But not quite sure what I'm going to do yet. I just got to make it safe, basically, so I can energize the kitchen ring, because they're not doing the kitchen yet. They're going to be a little while. Down here we're going to have a bit of a low ceiling, but we're going to have a couple of lights, a couple of switches, and the gas has already been bonded. The water's been, so there's going to be a dedicated radial just for the boiler down here. The incoming water is plastic, which is cool, so I haven't got to bond that. Plumber's going to do all their business there, but I'm just going to probably do conduit drops in the basement with surface fuse connection units. But that's pretty much it. But I'll show you the garage quickly. But yeah, that's what I've been on with a couple of blokes this week. It's hard to see, but there's a twin earth there, but it hasn't actually got an earth in. And in there, there's a junction box and then a switch. And the guy, they've got the keys. I haven't got the keys. And there's a great big like metal thruster in there, which I might just take down. And then there's some cable in here to make safe. To be honest, the easiest thing, I'm probably just going to disconnect it all. And there's a fuse spur just in, there's the kitchen there, in here. And just pop it across, you know, against the wall. Drive in there for a switch and a light. So they've got something. I plan to, yeah, I've got to make this safe around here, I think, as well. Yeah, there's cabling around here. So I think the best thing is just to disconnect it all, because it's all fucking shit. I plan to do, so there's a top floor radio, then there's the mezzanine floors radio, the first floor radio, ground floor radio, utility radio, basement radio, and then there'll be future proof for a garage radio, and we'll have a 32 amp kitchen ring, and I think the electric hob and oven. I've allowed for it all, got to test it all, make sure it's safe for continued use and service before I connect it in, but yeah, that's how I decided to split it up, but you'll see more of it in a bit. Right, end of day 6. I got porch done. Here, I had to do conduit here. I don't know if you can see, because obviously there's no ceiling. So I've done end box, through box, and then into the wall, bit of foam and shite like that. So I'm gonna go 150, you know, I'm in the zone there, going along, and then I'm going straight down. There's a two-way there, which is where that two-way. But that's the only way I can get across there. So conduit, got some D-line clips all the way across. Still got to fix those boxes in. Still got to do this one. I've got the cables there ready to fish across and come down. But main living room is done. Main living room lights, light, switch, all the sockets. Like I said, there's about 70 double sockets. So my mate has skimmed them all in, or just put the bonding coat in. There's one there. This one. This is going to be a two-way. They're going to knock through this wall here. So it's two ways, a dummy dimmer and a regular dimmer. Socket, 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 socket. Look at that, loads of sockets. And then that's my channel. Because I couldn't get into that porch from above, I've gone from that light switch. Its loop feed comes along behind that socket up and then out into the porch to stay in the zones. And this thing's just freshly done that. Sockets, sockets. There's a fuse connection unit there, which I've done some conduits to the wall, and there's a double socket, outdoor socket going out there. Having a charge point supply, so I've got some EV Ultra, which I've got to pull through and just leave coil probably under the floor there, and a draw wire where you pull it through when he comes to doing it. Utility light sockets, that's all the shit which is got to go rear entry into the consumer unit when I do that probably Thursday. And down here we got lighting cables for the basement, so it's going to be conduit up, wall light across, switch. And we've got a socket over there. Going to do some 50 by 50 trunking for those twin and earths there. Then we've got, there's a light in there. There's a 4-foot emergency LED batten going there. Conduit drops for double sockets here. Conduit drop for double socket. 4-foot LED batten light. 4-foot LED batten light. Got the CO2 and heat detector. There's a double socket going here, but also one of them is the boiler supply. So I'm going to do a T-box and conduit across and maybe down, fuse spur, and there's the flex there. And I'm fucking sore. I pulled a muscle in the loft last week and it's fucking killing me at the moment. Everything is really laborious, you know what I mean? Right. Let me turn this cunt on. There we go. Fuck me. Right. Today I'm swapping out this board in this 8-bed rewire. A lot of the circuits are going to be ditched apart from the kitchen ring. And I think there's a kitchen ring, which is one of these, and then oven hob, and then there's one socket circuit I think which does the out through there. There's like a little lean-to, and there is a single socket fed from here, which if I test it and it's all good, that's all going to be redone at some point, hence why I'm not touching it. I'm just going to test it and check it's safe. I'm going to temporarily redo the lights in there because I saw a horrendous joint. I was planning to keep the old lights going, but I saw that up there. And I said, look, it's just going to be easy for me to just, as I'm right here, I'll drop a feed in, switch wire up, a 3-core across to over there, and a feed just above the false ceiling, just slinging it above. I'll put a couple of metal clips in, feed down to here, and then punch through and put a light the other side of that door there and a light in there. All temporary because they're going to rip it all out. So just cheap, cheerful LED drum lights. And then in here, this socket hopefully is on its own supply. So I'm going to put in a 20 amp radial so they got a socket out here. Disconnect the garage lighting because there's no earth to it, and it comes all along from this slot here, which is all here, which is also live. But there's no earth there, and they've got a couple of metal fittings there, so I'm just going to disconnect that. If they want lights in the garage, I'll come off of this circuit with a fuse spur. I'll come off of this and sling in some FP across, or a bit of tube between this utility room and the garage. So yeah, I'm going to swap it all out. I've got all the cables, all the new cables in coil behind here. I've got to figure out exactly how I'm going to make that look neat at the moment. I'm not quite sure yet. So the big swap over. So all the switches are being second fixed today. Most of them have been installed adjacent to the existing, so they can keep the old system running whilst I get the new system in. So yeah, hopefully a couple of hours I'll have this out, new one in, and we're going to keep the this radial for that outbuilding, hob, oven, kitchen ring. There's that supply to the top floor consumer unit, and actually I think it's wired in the supply side of the RCD. I assumed it was in the load side. They just, oh no, there it is. Sorry, yeah, no, sorry, there it is. Supply to the RCD, and there's the load going out on the big 16mm twin earth. So it is on the load side of just the RCD. That's all that's protecting that cable going up to that second floor consumer unit, or a consumer unit. Yeah, live up to there. Yeah, and they just, you see they've daisied over to this RCD and around and out on that 16mm twin. Fucking bodge. It was only done 3 months ago. So this is all dead now, and this is the new work that I've done in the utility room on this rewire. Bit of 50x50 trunking done by the main man, Paddy. And I've also installed, because the ceilings are ridiculously high, we're talking 5-meter ceilings, I've got Eco smokes on all the floors. I put in a remote switch, wired one. I always prefer wired than wireless, so that at least they can silence the alarms, because they're never going to get up fucking 5 meters quickly if the smoke goes off, you know. And even to test them from here, because they haven't got a massive pair of steps to reach it, so got to cut all those back. I'm just here for another day just to finish off some odd bits and bobs, bit of labelling. I've got to relocate the boiler supply because it's going to feed the immersion instead now. Yeah.